صباح الخير وأهلا بكم في القمة السنوية التاسعة من EgyptAutomotive، الحدث الأبرز لقطاع السيارات، والذي يجمع قادة صناعة السيارات وصناع القرار تحت سقف واحد. وتأتي هذه الدورة تحت عنوان عام تغيير المسار 2025، لنستكمل ما بدأناه العام الماضي بوضع أسس التحول من الاستيراد إلى التصنيع المحلي وزيادة التصدير. والآن إليكم بروم المؤتمر لنستعرض من خلاله أعمال EgyptAutomotive منذ 8 سنوات وحتى القمة التاسعة المنعقدة اليوم. والآن دعونا نبدأ بالسلام الوطني لجمهورية مصر العربية. الحضور تفضلوا بالجلوس. والآن فلنبدأ يومنا بكلمات افتتاحية من قادة الصناعة والرؤية، وليتفضل السيد محمد أبو الفتوح الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة EgyptAutomotive لإلقاء الكلمة الأولى، فليتفضل.
صباح الخير. انا بعتذر على الخطأ التقني، بس خلاكم كلكم تضحكوا، دي حاجه كويسه قوي. خلينا نبدا يومنا بسعاده كده. 9 سنين. انا سعيد جدا بمرور هذه الفتره، سعيد جدا بوجودكم معنا في لقائنا السنوي. الساده السفراء، الساده ممثلي السفارات، الساده الشركات، الساده العاملين بشركات، زملائي الأعزاء الإعلاميين، زملائي في EgyptAutomotive، تحية طيبة وعطرة. اليوم نعلن عن بدء فعاليات قمة EgyptAutomotive في دورتها التاسعة، والتي تأتي بعنوان 2025 عام تغيير المسار. 9 أعوام مرت من تعب وجهد ومثابرة، مرت من خلالها بإحباط شديد جدا ونجاحات. 9 سنوات من معاناة للوصول إلى جلسات تليق بقطاع السيارات المصري، جلسات احتوت على رؤساء الشركات المصرية والعالمية، إرهاق شديد جدا للوصول إلى نقاط يمكن مناقشتها وتفعيلها وتطبيقها على أرض الواقع. نعم، خلال 9 سنوات ناقشنا العديد والعديد من الموضوعات، ويمكن اليوم أن أكون سعيدا جدا بوقتي معكم نظرا لما تحقق خلال هذه الفترة. لقد حققت رغبتي في أول يوم عمل لي في هذه القمة أن يكون سلاح قطاع السيارات هي EgyptAutomotive. وليس وعلى سبيل المثال وليس الذكر، فقد طلبنا هنا من بداية الجلسات توفير استراتيجية صناعة السيارات، وقد تحقق. طالبنا وناقشنا كثيرا عودة شركة النصر للسيارات، وهذا قد تحقق أيضا. طالبنا بالتركيز على الصناعات المغذية لتصبح هي طوق النجاة، ونعم الآن أصبحت الصناعات المغذية هي قاطرة هذا القطاع. طلبنا بضرورة تسهيل إجراءات التصدير وفتح المجال لشركات أجنبية كثيرة تأتي إلى مصر، وأصبح لدينا الآن أكثر من 7 شركات تصدر وأكثر من 12 شركة أجنبية تعمل في مصر في مجال الصناعات المغذية. لن أقف إلى ما قمنا به، ولن أسمح للانتقادات التي وصفت هذا المؤتمر بكونه ملجأ للترفيه. نعم، لكل مجتهد نصيب، واليوم يمكنني أن أعلن بأعلى صوت أن قمة EgyptAutomotive أصبحت أداة وصوت لقطاع السيارات المصري. فشكرا لكم جميعا على وقوفكم معنا طوال هذه السنوات، ولنستكمل معنا مناقشتنا حول تطوير هذا القطاع ليصبح الأول عربيا وأفريقيا. وقبل ختامي اسمحوا لي أن أرصد لكم شيء بسيط جدا حصل من أكتر من 10 سنين. كان في شاب قعدت معاه، هو اسمه خالد، ومعاه صديقي العزيز باشمهندس وجيت عرضت عليهم فكرة المؤتمر، قلت لهم أنا محتاج شلة تبقى في ظهري. وافقوا جدا ومضوا معايا وقالوا لي إحنا هنكمل مشوارك. والنهارده باشمهندس هيثم هو رئيس هذه الشركة، فدي سعادة خاصة جدا جدا ليا إن بدايتنا معاه وهو موظف النهارده هو رئيس للشركة. بشكركم جدا جدا على وجودكم معنا، ونتمنى أن تلقى جلسات المؤتمر استحسانكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، نبدأ جلسات المؤتمر. شكرا.
شكرا للسيد محمد أبو الفتوح. والآن مع كلمة السيد هيثم يحيى المدير العام للشرق الأوسط وآسيا الوسطى لشركة شل، فليتفضل.
صباح الخير. طيب أنا مبسوط قوي إني معاكم النهارده. الأول أحب أرحب بالسادة الحضور. يعني يمكن دي النسخة التاسعة للمؤتمر، وهتكلم شوية على الحتة اللي محمد أبو الفتوح هتكلم عليها. بس الأول أحب أشكر كل الناس اللي موجودة، من قادة قطاع السيارات في مصر، عندنا عملائنا الحاليين وعملائنا القادمين إن شاء الله موجودين النهارده. يمكن الرحلة دي كانت طويلة شوية، إن إحنا بدأنا EgyptAutomotive من 9 سنين زي ما محمد قال، وإحنا وي بليفد إن الفاليو اللي المؤتمر ده هيجيبه عالي جدا. ليه؟ لأن في تحديات كتيرة في السوق، وإحنا عارفين إن التحديات دي صعبة. وأنا بصراحة يا محمد أعتقد لازم تبقى فخور إن الإيفنت موجود وبيكبر على الرغم من كل الظروف اللي فاتت. بس الجود نيوز برضو إن الناس متفائلة السنة دي عن كل سنة، ففي انرجي كويسه جدا، والحمد لله دي حاجه علامه مميزه. طيب خليني النهارده يمكن في 3 نقط عايز اتكلم عليهم. اول حاجه الرحله بتاعت EgyptAutomotive في وسط التحديات دي، وليه ده بيحصل. احنا عارفين ان الكار بارك في مصر للباسنجر كارز حوالي 5.5 مليون عربيه. طيب فيرسز البوبيوليشن احنا عندنا حوالي 120 مليون، وما شاء الله بيزيدوا بسرعه عاليه جدا. فعارفين ان في بوتنشال كبير قوي ان السوق ده يفضل يكبر، حتى لو البيرشيز باور بتجي لها وقت بتقل، بس عارفين ان هي هتفضل تكبر. وعشان كده كل الناس اللي موجودة من قادة قطاع السيارات مهتمين جدا بالصناعات المغذية باللوكال برودكشن، واحنا كجزء من المنظومة دي بنهتم جدا ان احنا يبقى عندنا السبورت لكل شركائنا في القطاع السيارات. الانتاج المحلي مهم جدا، سواء قطاع سيارات كتجميع سيارات او صناعات مغذيه او زيوت، مهم جدا عشان نكمل المنظومه دي. طيب النقطه الثانيه يمكن شويه عن شركه شell. احنا دلوقتي لسه كنا بنحتفل من يومين، شell دلوقتي ل 18 سنه على التوالي هي المورد الاول للزيوت عالميا. فدي بالنسبه لنا حاجه فخورين بيها جدا. لسه الرقم الجديد اللي هو 18، كنا قبل كده 17 سنه. ويمكن شويه ريفلكت ليه ده حاصل. يمكن سببين او ثلاثه هم دول الاهم حاجه. اول حاجه الكواليتي والتكنولوجي لشل لما بنشتغل جنب الى جنب مع مصنعين السيارات، ودي مهمه جدا لان ده اللي بنبدا فيها التكنولوجيا بتاعت يمكن الغاز المسال. لو الناس عارفاها دي تكنولوجيا مهمه جدا، واحنا فخورين جدا بالتكنولوجي دي لان هي بتساعدنا ان احنا نقدم منتج مختلف ومميز في السوق المصري. تاني حاجه الشراكه مع شركائنا من مصنعين ووكلاء السيارات، ومش بس في مصر، الحقيقه عالميا طبعا فيراري، بي ام دبليو، هيونداي، لسته طويله جدا. بس هي شراكه بنعتز بيها لان دي بتساعدنا ان احنا نجيب احسن تكنولوجي من التراك من الريس للمستهلك المصري البسيط اللي شغال في عربيته في الشارع كل يوم، ان هو يبقى عنده التكنولوجي اللي بتناسب احتياجاته اليوميه. الحاجه الاخيره هي يمكن ازاي بنقدر ننتج المنتج محليا، وده اكبر جزء من الانتاج بتاعنا، اكتر من 80% بننتج محليا. مهم ليه؟ لان ده جزء من الاقتصاد المصري، واحنا فخورين جدا ان احنا بنكبر الانتاج المحلي. فزي ما اغلب المصنعين شغالين دلوقتي على الانتاج المحلي، احنا بنعمل نفس الكلام عشان نساعد في الرحله دي. فاللي يمكن بس عايز اقوله في النهايه، اجان شكرا جدا جدا لان كل الناس اللي موجوده النهارده. مبسوط ان في تفاؤل، وان شاء الله هيبقى في تفاؤل اكتر سنه ورا سنه، وهو احنا اللي هندرايف الجيرني دي، احنا اللي هنكمل الرحله دي. لو حد تشائم مش هينفع، احنا اللي لازم ناخد الرحله دي لقدام، وان شاء الله مع بعض كلنا نقدر نكمل الرحله دي ونبروجرس فurther in the next period ان شاء الله. شكرا جدا ليكم. شكرا.
شكرا للسيد هيثم يحيى المدير العام للشرق الأوسط وآسيا الوسطى لشركة شل. والآن مع كلمة السيد خالد شديد رئيس مجلس إدارة شركة النصر للسيارات والرئيس الشرفي للمؤتمر، فليتفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السيدات والسادة، الحضور الكريم، يشرفني أن أرحب بكم جميعا اليوم في الدورة التاسعة من مؤتمر EgyptAutomotive، هذا الحدث السنوي البارز الذي يجمع نخبة من رواد صناعة السيارات والخبراء والمستثمرين لتبادل الأفكار في مستقبل هذه الصناعة الحيوية. إن صناعة السيارات في مصر تقف اليوم على أعتاب مرحلة جديدة، هيستطيع الدولة المصرية تطوير هذا القطاع في مقدمة أولوياتها. ولعل الجهود المبذولة في توطين صناعة السيارات هي شهادة حية على التزام القيادة السياسية بتحقيق نقلة نوعية تضع مصر في قلب الخريطة الصناعية العالمية. هناك حراك شديد واضح جدا في تصنيع صناعة السيارات في السوق المصري. تحول الكثير من الشركات القائمة في التحول من الاستيراد إلى التصنيع المحلي. هناك سيارات جديدة تدخل للسوق المصري لأول مرة للتصنيع، ويتبقى لنا الدخول في مرحلة جديدة من تعميق الصناعة والمكون المحلي وضخ استثمارات جديدة في هذا القطاع. إن رؤية الدولة واضحة ومحددة في تعميق المكون المحلي، دعم الصناعات المغذية، جذب الاستثمارات العالمية. ومن هذا المنطلق أطلقت الدولة المزيد من المبادرات لتحقيق هذا الهدف. أول حاجة توفير حوافز استثمارية غير مسبوقة لتشجيع الشركات العالمية على الدخول في الصناعة في مصر، تطوير البنية التحتية الصناعية وإنشاء مناطق صناعية متخصصة لدعم سلاسل التوريد والإمداد، تفعيل التعاون بين القطاعين الخاص والعام لتوطين أحدث التقنيات وتعزيز القدرة التنافسية، ودعم التحول نحو التقنيات النظيفة والمستدامة شاملة السيارات الكهربائية والسيارات الهجين. السيدات والسادة، إننا نؤمن أن مستقبل صناعة السيارات في مصر واعد ومليء بالفرص، والتزام الدولة جنباً إلى جنب مع جهود المستثمرين والشركاء المحليين والدوليين سيؤدي بلا شك إلى تحقيق طفرة نوعية في هذا القطاع. في الختام أود أن أشكر كل من ساهم في تنظيم هذا الحدث الهام، وأتطلع إلى مناقشات ثرية وأفكار بناءة تسهم في تحقيق أهدافنا المشتركة، فلنعمل معا على بناء مستقبل مشرق لصناعة السيارات في مصر. شكرا جزيلا.
شكرا للسيد خالد شديد على كلمته. والآن مع كلمة السيد أنكش أرورة الرئيس التنفيذي لشركة منصور، فليتفضل.
Sabal Khair, Mr. Khalid Shadid, Chairman of this year's Egypt Automotive Summit, Mr. Mohammed Abu Futa, my friends and colleagues from the automotive industry, friends from the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed always a great honor for me to attend the 9th edition of the Egyptian Automotive Summit, an event which we have been now accustomed to and are waiting for every year. So heartiest congratulations to Mr. Mohammed Abu Futa for organizing this event repeatedly for the 9th year, and hopefully we will see a grand event in its 10th year next year. It's a very important platform where we get the chance to share our experiences, insights, and what's happening with an industry that we love a lot, which is the automotive industry. As in Egypt, we are embarking on a new wave of automotive manufacturing and industrialization, with deeper localization, broader business partnerships, and more active and prominent role in the regional and international markets. I would like to cover with you today some key trends which are increasingly becoming important on the global executive agendas and likely to have repercussions in our markets and our business in the short to medium term. But like they say, with every change, with every disruption, not only there are challenges to overcome, but there are many opportunities to exploit as well. So I'd like to focus on 4 key trends that we are seeing happening in the world order and impacting our automotive industry. Number 1, the geopolitical changes are speeding up the move towards increased protectionism. And I'll talk a little more about that. Number 2, the new rise of Chinese automotive multinationals. This was not the case 10 years ago. Number 3, the road to electrification, which everybody thought was going to be a smooth road, is turning into a bumpy road because the increased cost of capital spending required to build the charging infrastructure. And this is leading to new changes in the adoption of new energy vehicles. Number 4, the changing nature of our automotive products with high-tech content is leading to a change in the types of companies leading the race. No more it's a one-man show. You're looking at new joint ventures, you're looking at new partnerships. The entire ecosystem of automotive manufacturing is undergoing a complete paradigm shift. Talking about the first trend, the political change is speeding up the move towards protectionism. The election outcome in the US has the potential to affect the Chinese and European automotive markets considerably, which might in turn lead to a shift in the global automotive and manufacturing and distribution landscape. For example, a recent US increase in tariffs prior to the presidential elections affected 18 billion in imported Chinese goods, including quadrupling of EV duties to over 100% and doubling the duties on semiconductors to 50%, among many other new imposed tariffs. During the presidential campaign, it has been proposed to implement a baseline tariff of 10 to 20% on imports from all countries and up to 60% with a move to go up to 100% for Chinese products. For the automotive, these proposed measures can have been more drastic with coupling of the fact that vehicles produced in Mexico can be tariffed up to 100 to 200% that are meant to go to the US. However, the interesting fact is that last year, General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis together produced 1.6 million cars between them in Mexico. 100% of lithium-ion battery cells in the US were sourced from China. And Tesla sold as many cars in China as it did in the United States in the first month of 2024. So here lies the paradox. While car makers in Europe will suffer under tariffs and rivals in China are already essentially locked out of the US market, American businesses will also face steep costs and consumers are likely to see increased prices. And potential policy shift in the US are leading to more conservative expansion of major battery raw materials along with the supply chain. In Europe, a similar picture has been taking place. Recently, the European Union has maintained its decision to impose higher import tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles from 18% to 38%. In some instances, the European Commission has also rejected the proposal including a minimum price of 30,000 euros as well as the introduction of a quota system. These new tariffs could reduce European battery electric vehicle imports from China by about 25%, representing $4 billion in revenue. These measures have started to influence China's decision to establish manufacturing facilities in Europe and putting them on hold. Could some of them eventually be diverted to other markets? Is a big question that remains unanswered. What regional synergies in the supply chain can start taking place in emerging markets like Africa, Middle East, and India to attract this new production capacity? This is something that our policymakers need to track very closely because this is one of the biggest opportunities that can come our way in the next decade. The next trend, the rise of Chinese multinationals, especially in new energy vehicles. China has emerged as a transformative force in the global automotive industry, having been the world's largest market for automotive production since 2009. In 2023, China produced 30 million vehicles, which is more or less 1/3 of the global production. 20% of the vehicles produced in China are exported, and it is the largest export nation in the world. China has also achieved global leadership in the manufacturing of new energy vehicles, representing almost 2 in every 3 new energy vehicles produced globally. It also accounts for 70% of the batteries produced globally. Electric vehicles now represent 50% of all vehicles sold in China. Interestingly, in the last 5 years, the reason why I say is the rise of the Chinese multinationals. Chinese brands today have more than 60% share of the domestic passenger vehicle sales. and they account for 5 of the top 10 brands globally in terms of new energy vehicle sales. So this onslaught of Chinese OEMs having aspiration to have a global footprint will continue to be seen in the coming years. The adoption of EVs is seeing a change. And this change is happening because of the increased need of capital spending to support the development of the charging infrastructure. Today, EVs account for 41% of the cars sold globally versus 28% a year ago. This has been primarily driven by the rapid expansion of the plug-in hybrid electric market, which witnessed almost 80% growth, as well as extended range electric vehicles becoming the fastest growing propulsion system in China. This is in stark contrast to a 15% growth of only battery electric vehicles and a 16% decline in ICE vehicles. Hybrids and range extended electric vehicles are witnessing this significant growth because they offer a real solution to range anxiety, one of the major challenges of EV adoption. In range extended electric vehicles, the engine is solely used to charge the battery when the charge is low, extending the range beyond a traditional BEV, reaching up to in excess of 1,000 kilometers. This pattern is being witnessed globally, not only in China, with more consumers exploring EVs are going towards hybrids and extended range electric vehicles over traditionally powered gas vehicles. In H1 2024, ICE vehicles saw the biggest loss of market share in any vehicle category. Joint ventures and partnerships are driving the auto industry transition to electric and contributing to the market valuation of most industry players. With technology advancements, new players are emerging that view the car as a smart device. It's the same disruption that we saw with the invention of the smartphone. This has a direct impact with cars incorporating internet-era features to provide rich digital experience and to offer a product corresponding to the consumer's lifestyle and aspirations. The modern car company is no longer a standalone player, but a venture featuring premium high-tech together with exceptional product knowledge and consumer experience. The policy where foreign firms or firms from a different vertical trade their technology for market access enable knowledge spillover and quality upgrade amongst automobile manufacturers. A market-oriented and internationalized business environment conducive to investments is key to the success of such ventures. There are many examples. Stellantis formed an international joint venture with Leap Motors. LG formed a partnership with General Motors, Stellantis, and Honda to produce battery cells. General Motors launched a joint venture with SAIC, introducing the ADAS system. GM is also exploring with Hyundai Motor to develop joint product platforms in order to cut down the capital spending. BMW Group and Tata Technologies established a joint venture to drive automotive software and business IT innovations. 7 leading automakers in the US, BMW, General Motors, Honda, Hyundai, Kia, Mercedes-Benz, and Stellantis, united to create a new joint venture to establish a high-powered supercharging network in the US to increase EV adoption. BMW and Mercedes launched premium supercharging brand Ionchi alongside the opening of its first supercharging network in China. The JV between Chinese tech giant Baidu and car manufacturer Geely was founded as a technology AI company focusing on the development of artificial intelligence and autonomous vehicles. As we reflect on these trends, a roadmap emerges with clear milestones to strengthen the automotive development strategy for Egypt, which we have adopted to turn Egypt into a truly regional and international hub for automotive manufacturing and distribution. So the question is, what needs to be done? 1, we should continue improving the investment climate in terms of a clear long-term vision, cost efficiency, and structural support. Example, benchmarking our manufacturing cost structure in comparison to the best in the world and lay out a clear action plan over the next 5 years on how to be the best in the world. Number 2, we need to focus on high value-adding partnership with regional international partners, leveraging our trade agreements and market reach to build our own unique proposition as a country. Example, what stops us from introducing or implementing battery production in Egypt, which will be the biggest win the country can have over the next 5 to 10 years to become an alternate manufacturing hub outside of Europe. Importantly, is to protect and develop and build the domestic market to be a growth story. Clear demand creation initiatives have to be put in place to take the domestic industry from a current 150,000 units to 500,000 units in the next 5 years. Because if that is not done, then there is no exports or excellence of export hub being created in Egypt. We need to aim to be the regional integration hub of automotive supply chain by implementing cost-effective and efficient logistic solution that will enable exports to other continents like Africa or nearby continents like EU, Middle East, etc. I'll just leave you with a point to ponder. The cost of shipping a container from Morocco to Egypt is cheaper than the cost of moving that container inland from the Egypt port to your location of the plant. So there's lots to be done. Once again, thank you very much for listening to what I had to say and for your patient listening. All the very best to all my industry colleagues for the new year. Wishing you the best and God bless. Thank you.
شكراً للسيد أنكش أرورا. وأخيراً وليس أخيراً مع كلمة السيدة شارون نيش، رئيسة مجلس الإدارة والعضو المنتدب لشركة جنرال موتورز مصر وشمال إفريقيا، فلتتفضل.
Salam alaikum. How was that? I think we have a slide. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and esteemed partners, I'm honored to be here with you today and to wish to take an opportunity to thank all the people that worked hard to bring this summit together, and in particular, Mohammed Abu Fattah. Thank you so much for your persistence, perseverance over the last 9 years. I'll echo the comments from the other speakers that we do appreciate you creating this platform for thought leadership and collaboration and a network opportunity here within the automotive industry. Over the last couple of years, our industry has had more than our fair share of headwinds. I think you'll all admit the last 2 years have not been easy 2 years at all. But 2025 promises to be a turning point due to expected recovery or start of a recovery of our auto industry, hopefully towards that pathway that Ankush mentioned of selling 500,000 units in the next 5 years. But also, and if the government ministers were here today, I would say that a large part is due to the government's efforts, focus, and prioritization of the automotive industry and the effect that that's going to have with the implementation of some of the new auto policies that directly help with the production and localization of automobiles in Egypt. We can now look forward, I think, with a renewed confidence and collectively, I think, as we talked about, uplift the automotive industry to become that regional automotive hub that we're all hoping for, and that's a promising future. But it won't be easy. It's going to be hard work. There's going to be perseverance that's needed, a lot of persistence, and I think from an industry-wide perspective, a collective team effort. We see a lot of companies announcing new production into Egypt, and some people have said, oh, Sharon, you've been here for over 40 years as a company, aren't you worried? I applaud it. The more we can industrialize the automotive industry here and open up new production, that'll help everybody win in the future and attain this goal of at least 500,000 sales here in Egypt. In September, let's go through. In September, we celebrated an incredible milestone here at GM Egypt, and the country as a whole should take credit as well. We're the first automobile company to reach the 1 million vehicle locally produced at our GM Egypt plant in 6th of October. There we go. I'm not going to take credit for this. As most of you know, I'm a foreigner. I've only been here for the last few years. But there's been many, many people, many employees, many partners of ours, suppliers, et cetera, past and present, that contributed over the well over 40 years to achieve what I think is an incredible milestone of producing 1 million vehicles in Egypt for Egyptians. And we've led the commercial truck segment, and that's thanks to our 78 local suppliers that accompanied us in this journey. And many of the suppliers are here today, and we've been partnering for decades in order to realize this vision. The other, long-standing and special thanks goes to our distributor here in Egypt. The whole Mansour Automotive team, led by Ankush, and the team has done an incredible job in building our brands here in Egypt and delivering really an industry-leading customer experience, one that I believe is a world-class level that we've always recognized at General Motors. Now, over the years, we have made significant investments in Egypt. On the human capital side, and this is important, continuing to provide our suppliers, our dealerships, our employees with GM's global know-how and bringing it into Egypt, and training and skills development, and ensuring we build the automotive industry on a sustained basis. And this is going to be even more critical, as mentioned earlier in the speeches, about a disruption that's occurring in the auto industry. Those of us that are connected to global auto manufacturers must play a role in bringing that know-how and expertise into Egypt so that we can continue to grow and seize some of these new opportunities that we see coming to Egypt as well. On the capital investment side, we've contributed $530 million to enhance and upgrade our products and manufacturing capabilities over the past 41 years. And in the past decade alone, we've put $50 million of investment specifically around automating our factory and bringing in new technologies that allows our plant to be one of the most advanced and sophisticated plants in the automotive industry here in Egypt. We're also proud that General Motors Egypt is the first auto company to register our brand new car vehicle, passenger car, in the AIDP Automotive Industry Development Program. And this is really demonstrating our commitment to local production and localization particularly. It's not easy to localize our cars at a high level right from the beginning. And I will have to give credit to the team. Some of them are here today. Many are still at the factory working hard to make this dream a reality. Bringing a car, which I promised the government, to production this year and bringing it on time was not an easy feat. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, long weekends working, nights working, to come through with our commitment despite the last 2 years of challenges that we've all gone through. So I can't be more prouder of the team that's behind this, and we'll be able to start production of the 2025 Optra in the next week or two, which will offer an additional mainstream passenger car for Egyptians built here at 6th of October. And we're excited about starting to sell those early next year. So quite a bit of excitement coming, and I know over the coming weeks and month, we'll be talking more about this car to everyone. In addition to that, we've emphasized our commitment to exportation. The Africa and the Middle East markets are vital for General Motors. We're lucky enough as a global company to have pathways into many, many countries around the world. And we're excited that the GM Egypt is about to become a regional export hub, aligning with the government's vision and to support local expansion and enhance exportation. So the future is bright with GM. We will continue to deliver vehicles. Our community has grown to love, but we like to cater to a wider region and the demands for transport. The country's strategic location, infrastructure, skilled workforce position it as a gateway to Africa market and beyond. And while we've been knowing this for several decades, I think finally at this point, we're ready to start actually putting action to the words we were saying about needing to export. In addition, 2025 will mark a new era for GM Egypt in that we'll kickstart our electrification strategy in line with our global vision of zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion. This new era of mobility will introduce new technologies, efficiencies we've never seen, exciting designs, and we're not going to sacrifice performance of the vehicles. So we're excited about kickstarting that next year. And so before I close, I'd like to express my gratitude to our partners, the Egyptian government and the network of automotive experts that are here in this room today for your unwavering support. Together, we're not just building vehicles, but we're building a promising future for the Egyptian automotive industry. We need to continue to invest in people and talent to benefit the country's vision for 2030 sustainability goals. We'll strengthen our local economy and enhance the competitiveness of the Egyptian automotive industry on a global scale. This confidence is supported by an engaged and ambitious government who is focused on the automotive industry. And through this creation of the AIDP program, which many of you are very familiar with, I see success in the future for the industry. But it is critical that the AIDP is executed seamlessly and consistently, and we stay the course. Because all of us, many of us, are putting investment plans together. These programs are huge capital investment, and they're long-term investments. So we need some consistency in policy and regulations. And we're encouraged by the desire of the government to focus and start focusing on ease of doing business, that there's a ton of opportunity for us here in Egypt to be able to compete on the global arena. And I think as collectively, as a group here of the automotive industry, a collective voice will be critical to provide examples and opportunities for us to become even more efficient in the automotive industry. And the future growth plans and to keep the future growth plans on track. Also important is ensuring exporting aspirations are supported appropriately under the government's automotive policy framework. Exporting is going to be a key enabler to achieve the scale we need to reduce the costs and hedge for FX volatility. So companies, this will enable companies to continue to have faith in the Egyptian market and continue to invest in the capital that's required to grow this industry. So again, we're at a pivot point for further industrializing the industry, and it's great to hear of all the announcements that are coming in from multiple companies. The heightened government support is welcomed by General Motors, who has been industrializing for over 40 years. We're optimistic with these new opportunities that lie ahead. And I'm incredibly proud that we're going to be part of reshaping the automotive industry for future success here in Egypt. So thank you so much for the organizers again, and I look forward to a very productive and collaborative session today. Thank you.